Welcome to 2Cents FC. I'm your host, Amobi Okugo, back again with my guy, L. Each week, we'll be talking with individuals from around the soccer world, learning about their stories and getting their unfiltered thoughts and opinions. This week, we're joined by pro footballer, U.S. futsal team member, and licensed coach and trainer, Jon Orlando. We'll be discussing his journey, his soccer journey. Is an amazing story. Can't wait for you guys to hear. Talking football versus futsal, and coaching the next generation. And also, we're going to be saluting Kim Crabbe for Black Soccer History. Jon, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Chilling, man.
Yeah,
Pleasure to have you on, man.
Pleasure to be here. You guys doing some great work, so I'm happy to be a part.
No, thank you so much. I know Elle was very excited. You know, you've been on our radar for quite some time, so thank you for making it happen. First question we asked everybody: when did you fall in love with soccer?
Ooh,
futsal. We're gonna keep it all together.
I would say, honestly, I can't even answer that question. You know, I was born with a ball at my feet. Basically, my dad is a big time soccer guy. Played for the Ghana national team. Played for Ashanti Kotoko, for one of the biggest teams in Ghana. And so, you know, I obviously, when I was born, you know, soccer was just in our blood. He was coaching at UDC, and he started Washington Soccer Club in Washington D.C. in the '80s, and kind of like soccer, that's his life. And so I was kind of like born into it. So when they were at camp or at practice with the men's team or whatever, I was there, and it's pretty much all I know. And so I've loved it since I could probably walk.
Okay, respect. So all right, growing up, Ghana national team fan or U.S. national team fan?
Ghana, man. Interestingly, because I don't know, for some reason, I just had a passion for Ghana and Africa, and I just think, obviously, I traveled there when I was young with my father, and got to see the culture and experience, meeting my family and things like that. And when I was younger, Ghana was playing some ball, bro. They had some ballers. So, for me, those guys you could really look up to. U.S. at that time wasn't really, Ghana, we're talking about quarterfinals in the World Cup and things like that. And you kind of like,
Where were you? 2010 World Cup quarterfinals. I remember I was in Philly with my teammate too. We were cheering for Ghana like no other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were you
emotions? Obviously I was, back home in Maryland. But yeah, that was, super exciting. That was like, it is, words can't even describe, the feeling of seeing your country going, doing the things that they were doing. So.
No, I feel you. I'm still upset at that moment, but I think it was a blessing in disguise because, the world, God wants Nigeria to be the first team to make it to the first African team to make it to the
World Cup.
Yeah, so
just to make it to the final.
Yeah. So let's talk about it from the perspective. You grew up in Maryland. We've had a couple guests on the show from Maryland, from the DMV area. Where do you rank DMV soccer as a whole?
Man, I rate it high, man. I rate DMV soccer, super high. As you said, there's a lot of talent that has come out of this area, and not only individual talent, but great teams. When I was obviously my age group, 05, we had Casimir Bays, who to me is probably the best, if not the best, one of the best youth teams ever assembled. You're talking 3 straight national titles, or I think 2 straight and 1 to the finals. I'm not exactly sure. You got to fact check me on that. But just countless pros out of that group. You're talking, your Freddie Adu's and your, AJ De La Garza's and people that have come through the ranks out of this area. And you guys just did Joe. So another player from the area. So big time talent. I rate us high. I can't put a number on it. But I'll stack us up against anybody. And
no, respect. What I love about DMV is like you guys hold it down. Like everyone supports everyone. Cali is like little pockets, but if you're from the DMV area, everyone shouts each other out, and that's what I love about
Yeah, but the DMV is so super small. Cali's, college is
exactly.
enormous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 11v11, we taking whoever.
Okay.
Taking whoever. That's a fact.
He said
So-
DMV versus everybody.
Yeah.
DMV versus everybody. Yeah, DMV versus the World 11. For the US 11.
I love it.
US 11.
Wow. So, like, talk about your upbringing, because doing some research, you grew up in a soccer household. Your dad was an OG in the game, but you kind of had other passions. So, talk about your origin. How did you get to where you are now? I know there's some fun facts in there. You were in a GoGo band. Give us the full story.
All right, so I mean, I guess we'll start. I'll start probably we'll start probably like getting out of elementary school, going to middle school. And so, that's when I've had my first taste of, well, obviously you had ODP and things of that nature, but when I first played with, my soccer career kind of started when I first played with DC United Academy.
Mm-hmm.
There was the first ever academy in the history, I think, of the MLS. Actually, it was in 99, 2000. So you're talking about the beginning stages of the MLS. And we went to Paris and played against Manchester United, Juventus, teams like that. That was huge. And from then on, I was always, one of the better players in the area.
Yeah.
And so growing up, I was always, obviously playing for, top youth clubs, ODP, and all the other leagues that you got going on and things like that. And then, going into high school, I went to Archbishop Carroll High School, which is a predominantly black high school. I mean, you're talking 99% black students. Yeah, you might have maybe a little less because we had a pretty good Hispanic community as well. So maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10% Hispanic, but mostly black, and very, very poor soccer program. But obviously, the coach that came in there, Coach Diaz, recruited a lot of the top black talent into that school because it was a private school.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very low in the WCAC, which is a big, big, big powerhouse conference in the DMV. Not so much anymore because we know where high school soccer has went, obviously, because of the academies and things like that. But back then, if you were any type of player, you were playing in the WCAC. And we went on to beat DeMatha, which was one of the, obviously, big time school. And we were 23rd in the nation. So youth career and obviously going into college, I did very well. I would say going into my senior year, I guess you could say that's where things, started to change a little bit for me as far as my passion for soccer and my, I guess my studies mostly. I wasn't a very good student. So it's a funny story because obviously I told you guys before, my dad was the coach at UDC. And so I had a few offers. I wasn't really highly recruited coming out of college, to be fair. I was slightly undersized, very skillful, but obviously we know that doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things in U.S. soccer because the colleges are looking for the bigger and faster guys. And obviously it's understandable because when you watch, college soccer in the U.S., that's what it's kind of geared towards, getting up and down the field, playing with pace, playing with size, sending the ball in the box and getting guys in there to finish and things like that. So it's not really, conducive to a player that's kind of on the smaller side with technical ability, but not able to get up and down, with the bigger player. So for me, I had a few offers and, D2, a couple D1s, but nothing major, Maryland or Dukes or UNCs or nothing like that. So very, very low, I guess. Coaches rated me, not too high. And it didn't help that my grades weren't the best. So obviously that put me in a position where I had to obviously take a different route going into college, which I didn't really want to do anyway. I really did not like school. Still don't. I don't like studying. I like learning, but as far as like studying books, that wasn't my thing. So ended up going to University of DC. I played one semester there. I did well. I was number 9 in the nation in scoring, I think, and number 7 in assists. So I did very well as a true freshman.
Yeah.
Crazy because you got guys, I'm 17 and there's guys on my team that are like 30. You know what I mean? At that time, D2, they don't, there's really
they're playing gap years and stuff.
Exactly. Like you could literally be 40 playing. I had like a 40-year-old on my team. Yeah, it's crazy. But there's literally no regulation. So to be a true freshman in D2, to do as well as I did was pretty good. But I only lasted a semester, and then I dropped out of school. And then that's where things kind of shifted in life, where obviously if we were going more into the go, I'm from DC. So if you know anything about DC, obviously one of the things that we are super passionate about is our music. And the most popular music in DC at the time, now it's not so much. Go-Go's kind of falling off a little bit, but back then, Go-Go was everything. Okay. I'm talking about you could bring in artists from anywhere. Lil Wayne, whoever was hot at that time, they want to see the Go-Go bands. You know what I mean? They want to see the TCBs, they want to see the Backyards, they want to see the bands that are from DC. And that's what the people wanted. And that lifestyle, it was appealing not only to me, but to all the young guys and women coming up, obviously in the DMV area, because I mean, it was just, for us, it was everything. Go-Go was everything. Yeah. And so, in high school, one of my best friends, even to this day, he kind of introduced me to Go-Go. And, I fell in love with it. Bro. I started, going, he played with one of the hottest bands in the city, and I used to just go to shows with him and things like that. And, with that comes a different kind of lifestyle, because I don't want to say Go-Go is a negative thing, but it's definitely it definitely distracts you from, I guess you can say, making good choices, because again, you're around, you get around girls and drugs and money and alcohol and things like that. And then your mind shifts. Well, my mindset obviously shifts from football to now I'm focused on being popular and getting money and getting drunk and high and whatever else, that feeds that, that obviously that that nightlife lifestyle. So was doing, ended up doing that. And then I was like, well, I might as well, I got in a band. I was a rapper for this band called for another band called TOB, which is, they're still playing today. Very popular band. They're still doing their thing. So shout out to them. And then, I started my own band called Renegade. And then in 2008, and that's where I was the lead vocalist. And so a lead vocalist basically is the person that leads the band. You change the songs, you make up the sets, what song you're gonna play at what time, you help design, you basically design the songs and control the band. I mean, the band goes where you take them. So any band that's any type of popular in the area has a great front lead talker, because the lead vocalist that's the front man. That's who everybody looks to in the crowd and in the band. So you got to be good at that.
Did you always have like a talent in music, or it's like once you got introduced to Go-Go, you were like, this is my calling, kind of like, this is what I have a talent in this?
I mean, my family, my mom not so much, but my dad was a drummer. It's funny because he took time off from soccer before he went to Kodako, and then eventually to the national team. He went somewhere to play music, to play the drums. It's funny, we talk about it all the time, because it's kind of like our stories kind of correlate like that. Yeah. And then my brother as well. He's a professional drummer.
Okay.
So he's a touring drummer. So I guess you could say music is kind of
it's in the blood.
It's in the blood. Just as soccer is in our blood. You know what I mean? And so yes, I think for me, being able to, find a passion outside of soccer and be able to express myself to people in a different way other than being on the field and being judged by my performance on the field, being judged by, I guess, my performance in the band was just as exciting. And so I found, a deep passion for that. And I loved it. But again, like I said, I mean, that causes, obviously, I got, I've made some good friends, but you get caught around the wrong people as well. And when you're doing well in that type of industry, you get people attach themselves to you that may not have your best interest, or may not even know anything about you, really. I mean, you just people just kind of come around, and you're just, oh, what's up, bro, whatever. Yeah. And so we go down that route, and then I want to say about, let's say, 2010, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're talking about 5 years now without touching a soccer ball. Really,
not even pick up, not even juggling around.
I mean, every once in a while, what I mean, I would, maybe touch a ball, but nothing consistent, and nothing I can say, all right, I played 2 or 3 days straight, or or I even, you know what I mean? I'm going out to the gym or anything like that. I mean, I literally just drinking. Like I used to drink a lot back then. Like that was my thing, just to drink, go out, party, do the GoGo, and that was it. Yeah. And my band got really popular. And so we're doing shows. I mean, you're doing shows in front of thousands of people. And you know, it's not like a touring band where you're going to different cities. I mean, you're literally going from DC to another spot in DC to maybe you'll go to a spot in Maryland, a spot in Virginia. And sometimes we might go to North Carolina and do a show and things like that. But I mean, you're talking about just we're playing and practicing. We're seeing each other maybe 5 or 6 times a week. And that was my life. And, you know, you invest money into it and you invest time and effort and energy. And you know, I guess, you know, make that we didn't make that much money, but I mean, we had some great times. Yeah. But, you know, like I said, my life started to go in a direction where I don't know, man, and I believe in God, and I think God, you know, during that time, you know, I wouldn't say that God I wouldn't say that he wasn't pleased with me, but I would say, you know, obviously, I think, you know, when you're going in a path that you know, I think sometimes you're allowed to do things and experience things that can put you where you need to be. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like, you know, I experienced those things and I went through coming out of GoGo, I was in like a really, really, really like deep depression. And, you know, I didn't know whether I wanted to live or die. And then you get to that really low place in life. And you know, it was very tough for me to get out of that place in particular. And that was around 2010. So you're talking about around November of 2010. And, you know, I went from this great soccer player, full scholarship to school. You know, I go into the GoGo and I start from the bottom in GoGo and then get myself up to a position where, yeah, you're finally starting to make some money and get some fame and things like that. And then right back down to the bottom. And so, you know, obviously, you know, going through that was very eye-opening because I didn't know that somebody could actually get that sad. You know what I mean? Yeah. And not really have a reason for it. You know, I couldn't explain. People, wow, what's wrong with you, man? You got all this, and I was making some good money. I had a good job and things like that. So people like, you got the band, you got this, you know, the girls love you, and da da da. But you know, none of that brought me happiness, I guess, and I can't really explain why. So fast forward to 2010, honestly, from 2010 to 2012, I was really just getting my life back together, you know, from that low point of depression and things like that. So I start going to church and I start, you know, seeking mentorship from people that are older than me and more, you know, more experienced in life than me, and starting asking questions of why and I'm here and finding about purpose and things like that. And so that happened, and then, you know, I started finding myself getting better and better, and, you know, every day I started, okay, all right, I do have purpose, and there's a reason for me to be here. And, you know, one of the quotes that troubled me during that time was I heard a quote that said, "Life is meaningless and death is inevitable." And I remember saying that to somebody, and I said, "Is life really meaningless?" Because we all know that death is inevitable. So I guess, you know, the first part of that quote is to try to find the answer to the first part of the quote. Mm-hmm. And for me, the meaningful piece for me in life was football. Yeah. And I went through all that to kind of find my love again and my passion and direct all my depression and my anxiety and my fear and my anger and my, you know, regret and shame and all those type of things. I directed that into my soccer and my getting myself back to, you know, where I know I should be. And that's when 2012 hit, and I just start training. I mean, I'm talking about two times a day. I start playing in all these like leagues in DC, and DMV got some tough leagues, bro. Yeah. Tough leagues. You got leagues like Copataka, you got Herndon leagues, you got leagues out in Maryland, and I'm talking about you got ballers. You got guys coming from El Salvador. There's a big El Salvador, Honduran, Guatemala, and Central America community in this area. So you got a lot of ex-pros coming to play in these leagues, and I'm talking about battlegrounds, bro. Guys playing like going hard. And so I start finding a lot of success in those leagues, and I'm scoring a lot of goals. And during that break, I kind of grew into a man, you know, because I was 17 and 18 and in my freshman year in college. So I was still struggling a little bit with my size and trying to compete at that level, which is, I think, one of the things that kind of, you know, put me on the outside and say, I'm not really feeling this. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I really grew into my body because at that point I went from 18 to now I'm 23 years old. And so I'm a man and I'm fast. I'm back. I got my speed back and I'm quick and I'm, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, you know, you're doing your thing. You're winning all these tournaments. You're goal scoring champion in all these leagues, which are not easy leagues to play. I mean, these guys the refs are terrible. You're getting kicked down, spit on, guys in the crowd coming, throwing beer on you, tripping you on the field, all types of shit, man. I'm telling you, like, if you don't got tough skin, you can't play in those leagues.
No, fact.
So we win the league back to back. We go to El Salvador. I go to El Salvador. I do really well, and like some coaches wanted to keep me in El Salvador, and I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling El Salvador. I'd rather go back to the U.S. You know what I mean? So I come back to the U.S. and then I started playing futsal in the DMV with this group called Sporting Maryland, which was a pro futsal team in the DMV. But during that time, I'm still doing those leagues. And then one of my coaches from when I was a youth player back when I was a knucklehead, funny enough, saw what I was doing, Facebook, and thank God for social media. And we talked, and he was like, "Hey man, look, we'll bring you on a trial with the Rail Hawks, who at that time was in the NASL, which at that point, which is not sanctioned anymore, which isn't a league anymore, actually. Yeah. At that point, it was the second division in U.S. soccer. And you had the MLS, the NASL, and then you had USL as the third tier. And so, he's like, we'll bring you in on trial. You come down and we'll see where you're at. And, if we like what we see, we'll see where we go. And so they brought me down for a week, put me in a hotel, and I trained with the group for a week. And they said, all right, you look good. Let's bring you down again. So they brought me down again. I played a couple friendlies with them. And then they offered me my first contract, and then the rest is kind of history. I stayed there for a couple years. And I was at that point I was 28, and so you're talking about my rookie year in professional soccer was was 28 years old. Yeah. And so went from that to, and then I went and signed with the Baltimore Blast, which is the MASL team, probably one of the obviously the most historic franchises in major arena. In Major Arena Soccer League. We won a world championship there. And then after that, got recruited by the national team, U.S. futsal national team coach. And, just recently went out to Croatia to play in the Porch and in the Porch Futsal Cup. And then, got my first cap with the national team, and, the rest is history. Now I'm here running my program and things like that. So, I mean, it's a pretty deep story, and, it has a lots of twists and turns, and, I could go into detail and you guys would be like, but
I'm already thinking, my head's spinning like, yo, this is a movie script material.
Yeah. During that time in 2009, 2010, I mean, you're talking about, obviously, you're running the streets and everything that comes with it is all involved in that. And then you start to realize, as I get older now and I start to look back, I start to realize why my life spiraled in that direction, and why eventually God got me to that point where I could get out and then do something more positive with my life. But I have those experiences now that I can share with people like you, and obviously share with the world and the kids that I train on a daily basis, and I can relate better. So I'm thankful for it. I wish, I could have realized it a little sooner. I could play pro a little bit, get out there a little at a younger age. But again, I'm thankful for the experiences I've had. I mean, I've traveled the world. I've done some amazing things. So yeah, man. That's kind of the story in a condensed version. I know I was a little lengthy, but
no, that's perfect. I mean, that's what the audience loves. It gave a full detail. We appreciate your insights. I think for me, when it comes to your journey, I think everything happened for a reason, and those experiences are helping you, with the impact that you provide now. But I got one question. You've played at the highest level. You've played in different levels, men's league, adult leagues, El Salvador. When it comes to outdoor versus indoor versus futsal, give us the differences, because I know personally indoor is hard as hell. Every off season we have like a Christmas tournament, indoor tournament, and there's this like local team, and it's war. They know how to play the angles. They like know how to do the rotations. It's like, it's unbelievable. So talk about the differences, and like for anyone that's, looking to learn more.
Let's start with outdoor. I mean, most people are more familiar with outdoor. I mean, outdoor is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, everybody plays it, especially in the U.S. I mean, since they're, when they're kids. Futsal is not really, it's getting there now, but it's not really something that we're taught as young players. I was never taught to play I never played futsal up until I was an adult, really. I played indoor a little bit, but I would say the difference, obviously, outdoor is obviously it's more, for me, it's more, and I don't want to say that, but I would say it's more tactical. It's definitely, obviously, I mean, it's more strategy. You got to play, with the team. You don't have to be as individually talented. Your movements don't have to be as sharp. You don't have to be as quick. You can kind of, get away with things in outdoor as far as resting and things like that during the course of a game that you can't do in futsal or indoor. Indoor is just a complete, and then obviously in outdoor, you got to, you're playing on a regulation field. You got regulation goals. You're playing offsides. You have throw-ins, and all the rules that come with outdoor soccer. Whereas though as indoor, there's no out of bounds lines.
Oh.
You're playing you're playing in an arena. So the court, I mean, you could say it's actually a pretty big. I mean, when you're playing professional indoor, the fields are pretty big. I mean, you're talking. I mean, I can't give you the exact size, but I mean, it's. I would say the size of like a hockey rink.
Okay.
And outdoor you're playing 11v11. Indoor you're playing 5v5 with the goalie, so 6v6.
Yeah.
And that obviously you don't have out of bounds, so you have walls, so you can play the walls, you can play boards, you can, you know what I mean. You have, you have set plays and things that you have to remember, kind of like basketball. So you have let's run one, let's run two. You got plays off of kickoffs, you got plays off of kick-ins, off the board, side plays, all types of things. And it's a very rough game. It's very, you can contact, you can push a little bit. And it requires a lot more of how to play than skill. You have some players in indoor. Don't get me wrong. There's some good ass players in the indoor league that you would rate, very high, that come from futsal backgrounds and things like that have a lot of skill. But some of the players that find success in indoor, you'd be like, how the hell is this guy a professional soccer player? But he knows how to play the boards. He knows how to find his angles. He can finish, because again, finishing in indoor and futsal, it's different or outdoor. Outdoor, mostly you're gonna finish the ball. Yeah, you'll strike the ball with power. Every once you'll see some, like a guy will just lace the ball, but a lot of times you're gonna see a guy finesse the ball. You know what I mean? Place the ball and finishing. Whereas on indoor, you see a lot of guys hitting that ball and striking and roofing the ball and some guys have that skill to just be able to place the ball where it needs to be and hit it with enough power so that goalie can't save it. And then going into futsal, obviously futsal is just you're going into a smaller court, equivalent to a basketball court, but it's bigger than a basketball court, a regulation futsal court. But I mean, futsal just completely different from outdoor and indoor. I mean, futsal is probably the most technical, most technical, tiring, strategical game that you're going to play. I would say it's not as physical, but it is physical. But with futsal, you have kick-ins, and you're playing with 4 on the side with goalie, so it's 5 aside.
Yeah.
And futsal, you have to defend while you're on the court. And indoor and futsal, you have unlimited subs, because you can only play. In indoor, your shift is only going to be a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. That's stretching it. You say between 90 seconds, to about. That's about as long as you should be on the indoor court. Futsal, you're talking about maybe 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, depending on where you're at with your fitness and what kind of play you are. Outdoor, obviously, you're playing 90 minutes with 3 subs. But
so which one you like better? Which one you like the best?
Now I would say futsal. I've kind of transitioned into loving futsal, which I used to hate futsal. Coming from outdoor, I was very bad at futsal. I didn't know how to play. I didn't know how to defend. I didn't know how to track runners. I didn't know how to run plays. I didn't know how to trap the ball, because there's a different way you control the ball. All that stuff I had to learn. I didn't know how to rotate an offense. And so all that stuff I had to learn. So it took me about a year or two to get to the level where I'm at now, where you're playing against the best players in the world, which, now I can hang. But I think I like futsal more, just kind of I've adapted to it.
No, that's amazing. I know a lot of clubs, especially like in California, do like futsal training for the young kids. Talk about, if you can do it all over again, like, would you recommend futsal as part of like the technical training Just another aspect to developing, whether you're playing outdoor, indoor, futsal, that futsal aspect, you see some of those players, technically they're just miles above. Like what's your recommendation on that?
Yeah, I mean I rate futsal highly when we're talking about youth development. It's unfortunate, I'm a very skillful player. My dad was very adamant about step over turn, scissors, this, that, repetition, and so it became a part of me. But a lot of the coaches, I think now, especially in the U.S., don't really focus on the basics of learning specific skills and the repetition and making those second nature to how you play. And we don't do much street soccer here, much freestyling and things like that. So the creativity is kind of lost when you're talking about soccer in the U.S. And it kind of showcases itself. I mean, when you watch, obviously, the first team and things like that, you can tell the players that have played over in Europe and developed there, and the players that have come out of the systems here. When you look at Brazil, when you look at Spain, Argentina, when you look at those European teams that find success, obviously their players have come from futsal background. You look at some of the greatest players ever: Ronaldinho, Messi, Iniesta. Guys that Iniesta wrote a whole article about why players should only be playing futsal until a certain age. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I wholeheartedly agree with that, because you have to learn how to be special. You have to take players one-on-one. You have to defend. If you don't defend, you're going to get punished. Whereas though 7v7 outdoor on that big old field with 8-year-olds, you might touch the ball 3-4 times a game.
Yeah.
The other time you're chasing butterflies and
just like looking at the grass and stuff.
And talking to your parents during the game. Like, come on, buddy. You know what I mean? Whereas those people, if you're not locked in, you're getting punished. And then you have to take players one-on-one, because it's a 1v1 game. Somebody's going to be checking you 1v1. If you can't go, you're not going to find success, right?
Yeah.
Yes, futsal to me should be mandatory in U.S. soccer, and I hope one day they mandate that players up until a certain age play futsal.
I love that.
And only futsal until, and then obviously it's USA, they want to play outside. We could give them an option, around 9 and 10 years old. Okay, now if you guys want to play 7v7, go ahead, whatever. Yeah. But you have to play futsal 6, 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah. No, you bring up great points. I think, I was during the off season, I was at the park. I saw these kids playing. I'm like, yo, you got 5 kids in the back just like looking at the sky, picking the grass. I was like, in futsal, you can't hide. And you talked about that street culture. And that's what, in the culture in the United States, that's why people love basketball. That's why people love football. You can't hide. So talk about it from like the inner city. You think futsal would be a great complementary service or a sport to get more people involved in soccer, like that aspect of taking someone 1v1, that aspect of having that street, that culture in the game of futsal, engage, the inner city kids?
Yeah, I think, there's a few guys out here in the DC area that are really pushing the culture of futsal in the inner city, and you see a lot of the younger guys, taking obviously a liking to it, because again, you can do it outside on the court. It's not as structured. You can kind of just go out there and do your thing and express yourself. And I think with basketball, obviously me being in DC and PG County, which is where I'm from, PG County is a hotbed for you talking about basketball players, Kevin Durant, you know what I mean? And players, obviously we got a ton of players that are in the NBA. And so basketball's huge here. And the courts are even packed. Even now during the pandemic, you go to the court and it's just dudes out there just, they going for it. And you would like to see that in futsal, how we introduce it to them in a way that I guess is cool, or, a way that, I guess they can take to it. Because in my opinion, I feel like that's what we're kind of missing in U.S. soccer is the inner city. And if the inner city, and I'll say me, even though I'm not necessarily from the inner city, but obviously I'm a part of that culture. I would say if we had, the ability to play soccer, because it's so damn expensive. Yeah. If we created avenues for these kids to play soccer, get exposed, get seen by universities, then they would want to do it. But now all they know is soccer, basketball, and football, because those coaches are able to get them on the AAU teams, who are able to get them in front of college coaches, who are then able to get them to the NBA or overseas and things like that. Whereas though in the inner city, you don't have guys coming down to Southeast DC talking about, hey, man, you guys should play soccer, and I could get you here, here, and here. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times parents are looking for a way out for their kids, and basketball and football is that way out. We know now MLS is offering decent money now, and we have the colleges are giving out more scholarships for soccer. So now we have more that we can offer these parents to get their kids more involved in soccer. And you see it now. I got a lot of my friends who obviously are from the city that hit me up and like, yo, I'm trying to get my kid in the soccer. You know, what do I need to do? Blah, 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 blah. So, yes, I think futsal and street soccer is the way that we can go in those communities and introduce the game and then take those kids further.
So you're saying that's a way to make it more accessible. But at the end of the day, it's the parents, they want to see a roadmap, you know, at least with basketball and football, you know, I can get my family out the inner city. I can get my family, you know, take care of my family if I make it playing basketball and football. So if we could see more of those roadmaps from the soccer, for the futsal standpoint, I think, and that, you know, comes to, you know, people like you and me, you know, you can't go to Croatia, you know, playing football. I mean, maybe through like vacation, but the ability to play a sport and travel the world overseas, if we expose the young kids to that, the inner city kids, I definitely think more people will play. And obviously with futsal, that street culture, that taking guys 1v1 or guys and gals 1v1, there's nothing like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you want to do that, and then you see somebody fall, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? That's that culture. You feel me? Like you do a move. They be seeing me play. They're like, damn, you play like you playing basketball. Yeah, because I play basketball coming up, so I have that PG in me. I have that culture of where I'm, you know what I mean? I'm going. Yeah. That's what I do. You know what I mean? And so, but you know, to further go in a little deeper, we don't have to keep going on it, but it's for me, you need money as well. If you look at basketball, you know, and you look at these pro players, they all have AAU teams. PG, you got Team Durant. You know what I mean? You got Team Durant. Kevin Durant has an AAU program. And you look at all these guys. Chris Paul has an AAU program. LeBron is in his community, I promise, and all those things. We go into DMV, I can look around, and again, I know soccer players aren't making that kind of money that those guys are making, but even as a collaborative effort, you know, we look at, you know, DC United or whoever else, where are the programs in Southeast DC? You know, Northeast DC, even Northwest DC. You know, shout out to my guy Amir, who's doing some big things with Open Goal Project up in North.
Yeah, shout out to Amir. We're going to have to get him on the show soon.
Oh, for sure. Great dude, man. Big time. But he, you know, he's one of those guys that have come from an experienced MLS and has brought his experience back into the area. I'm trying to do something like that, but obviously, you know, you need funds, you need sponsorship, you need access to the fields. I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, soccer is not given here in this, and I can only speak for DC. I don't know New York, LA, you know, wherever you guys from. I don't know y'all inner city struggles, but for us, you know, it's having, I think it's going to take for a player to really get out into that Bundesliga or, you know, out into the Spanish Premier or the EPL and come back and create. This is my program. There is no fees attached to this. Come in, you know, showcase your talent. If you do well, you go on. You know what I mean? Yeah. That way we can generate that excitement. Players can start coming in and believe that they have the opportunity to go Division I college, go on to the MLS or overseas. And so, yeah.
No, that's what it's all about. And, you know, congrats to you. But talk about, you know, you starting your own club and talk about, you know, some of the big plans that you have for 2021. I think it's amazing. Definitely more, you know, athletes in the game, especially from the soccer standpoint, need to figure out ways to give back to their community. And that's what you're doing. So talk about how it all came about and some of the plans you got for the upcoming year.
I mean, obviously, you know, I talked about my dad being a coach. My mom is I don't know her exact position, but she's one of the directors of, you know, the whole Parks and Recreation in Alexandria, Virginia, which is a suburb out in Virginia. And so working youth sports and being involved in recreation is kind of in our family. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, coaching has always been a part of, you know, my dad has always groomed me, not only as a player, but watching him coach, you kind of, you know, I'm just the product of of him, essentially his philosophies and the things that he's taught me is obviously, allowed me to be, I guess you can say it, I'm pretty decent at coaching. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? But for me, I want to be able to imprint, my philosophy, obviously into the DMV culture. And I think I am DMV culture, you know what I mean? Being able to go out and play around the world and play with some of the best players in the world and actually find some success. I don't have the best resume, and I didn't play, in the EPL or anything like that, but I've done well. And I've went farther than players, and I want players to be able to experience that. And so I know what it takes because I've been there. And so I can come back and tell these players, you want to go to college, you want to get a full scholarship, this is what you need to do. Why? Because I did that. You want to play pro? This is what you need to do. Why? Because I did that. You want to go to the national team? This is what you need to do. Why? Because I did that. And now not only do they have a visual representation, but they have a black or brown guy that they can look at and say, this guy looks like me. And if he can do it, and I have players of all races, religions. And for me, it doesn't matter. For me, the thing that bridges the gap is the ball. And that's what inspired me to start my program, which is Intensity Futsal, who I started with Ryan Russell, who's obviously, one of the best players I've ever played with, and a great friend of mine, and Brandon Container, who's another really close friend of mine. And we do that out and all over the DMV. I have programs in DC, PG County, and then we go down to Southern Maryland as well. And, I think for me, it's just us, knowing that futsal is what's going to take these players and get these players the skill, the accountability, all the things that they need to be good individual soccer players and then go on to be successful within their teams. And I'm all about building players, good players to be good players, make great teams. Yeah. You don't just get a bunch of average players and have a good team. It doesn't work like that. So I'm all about creating good players, great players to go on within teams, and then those teams become great. And so our focus is those individual players, and we think futsal is the easiest route to be able to coach a player and create a good player, as opposed to focusing on we're 8 years old and we're trying to go win tournaments and games, which people don't even keep scoring. Nobody cares, right? So
I like that.
That's why we started, Intensity Futsal. Follow us on Instagram, Intensity Futsal.
Yeah, we definitely have that in the show notes.
Had that in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely follow that. I know Elle will follow that.
I'm talking to the fans.
Okay, yeah, no, we definitely gonna have them tapped in for sure. No, I like what you said about the collective, but within that, you have to develop the individual, because then they can provide more for the team, obviously more for themselves, and develop long term. Let me
pause you right there. And one of the things I wanted to, before you go, is a lot of times you'll see coaches that are so worried about results that you'll have a bunch of mediocre players playing kick and run soccer, and you might have a fast guy playing forward, and you might have a guy that has a big kick playing, center back or whatever. You kick it forward to the guy that's fast. He scores goals for you. You win 5-6, 7-0, and you think you're playing good soccer. Whereas all the players that are even the player that's playing forward, once he gets older, by
the time he gets 13, 14, then nowhere to be like, oh, what happened to that? He ain't developing.
Everybody catches up. You know what I mean? And so now you have a bunch of mediocre players. Yeah, they found success. U9, U10, 11, 12. Now where are these players?
Yeah.
So we need coaches to really not be focused on winning games. Do not focus on winning games. Focus on creating great players. Then the winning will come. But anyway, go ahead.
No. I mean, you brought up a great point. I thank one of my old coaches back in the day, because I was bigger and faster than most kids at a younger age, so I could do that, like just dribble past everyone or run past everyone. But he made it adamant to make sure that you need to develop these skills, because at some point, some of these kids are going to catch up to you in like size and strength. So always working on my technique, and now you can combine the two. So I think it's really important that you said that as a coach. Like, yeah, it's cool to win, but it's cool to develop players for the long term, and I think that's really important. So
sure.
So, we talked about, things that you're doing for the community, the impact that you have. All right. Give us your 5-a-side. Who you picking on your squad, including you, futsal or field players, if you're going against, five people.
Whew. We're playing futsal?
Yeah, you're playing
Yeah.
football.
Whew. And I have to be in the lineup?
I mean, if it was me, I'm picking myself. I don't care. Like I got to put myself in the lineup. So yeah,
I'm not that prideful.
I'm making. Yeah, you got to put yourself in the lineup.
All right. So we'll go me. We'll go Ricardinho.
Is that the guy with all the like IG clips? Everyone shows like he's like the greatest. Okay.
From Portugal.
Yeah.
If we're talking futsal, you got to put Falcao in there. And then I'll put Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho Gaucho. And then goalkeeper, who'd I put at goalkeeper? I don't know. Give me Peter Schmeichel. What the hell?
Okay, respect. Because you talked about futsal. You talked about futsal being like you have to play defense too, and you named like all offensive players. So how does that work from that aspect?
Shit, we vibes, man.
We're gonna score more than the other team.
It's all vibes. We're gonna no defense.
Outscore the other team. I mean, the thing about futsal is even the good offensive players like Ricardinho and Falcao, they play defense good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, you can't just because they're great offensively. Ronaldinho. I mean, how many times have you seen Ronaldinho just get beat as if he wasn't there? You know what I mean? You hardly ever see a Ronaldinho. Yeah, he might not play as much defense, but So I think on a futsal court, I think just the knowledge that he has, the ability to read the game, to read players' movements, one-on-one, I'm taking him any day, offensively or defensively against a lot of guys. To be fair, and the same for obviously, Ricardinho and Falcao, and we can say Messi, who is to me I rate him.
Yeah. And if you guys had the ball the whole time, and the best defense is a greater offense.
Offense. Exactly. And who's taking the ball from any of them? Nobody, bro. Nobody.
So when it comes to like futsal, it's crazy your story. You played outdoor, you got your debut like at 28. Doing indoor, then you go to futsal, and you end up playing for the national team. Talk about what it's like from the U.S. national team on the futsal side, because we hear about U.S. men's national team play today. U.S. women's national team getting all their shine, even though it's not enough. But from the futsal side, how do you guys feel like you guys are represented? What's it like? What are some of the perks? All that.
It's dope. It's dope. Obviously, again, futsal is what you would call an extended national team. Futsal is not at the forefront of U.S. soccer, and obviously we all know that. And futsal is not at the forefront of any nation's soccer, unless you're talking about smaller countries like, you know what I mean, where they find success in soccer, in futsal, Portugal and Brazil. They treat their futsal teams very well. Serbia and those European countries that are up in those areas. They treat their futsal teams well, and those futsal teams find success. I think for U.S., obviously the priority is the men's and the women's national team. And like you said, you would think that the women, got a little bit more. And I live with a few of them, and it's dope to just see how popular they are, man. They are awesome. The national team, they are, and those kids love them. And when I was playing in North Carolina, we had the NC Courage, and you had 4 or 5 women's national team. And you just see the reaction they get, and just being around them, it's just a different vibe. They're legit famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, no, it's dope. And so obviously that's where majority of the resources would go. And then you got futsal, you got beach soccer, you got these extended national teams. For futsal, I think obviously just being in the U.S. national team pool of players and being in that environment and going away to national team camps and things like that. It's dope. Obviously you get everything paid for, your travel and all your expenses. And then, obviously, you get to travel around the world and into different cities all over the country and train with obviously, some of the best coaches and players that the country has to offer. So, I mean, it's just it's a dope experience, bro. And then you get to, obviously you get to wear the crest, and that obviously, that's something that you dream about, and in whatever capacity, just to say that you did it, obviously, rate you as one of the best players in that sport in the country, and so you don't take that lightly. And so I was lucky enough to, obviously, get caps over in Croatia, and then, I've been to last year I went to 4 camps, and national team camps, and so I mean, it's just a dope experience. They treat you well. You know what I mean? You get great gear, obviously Nike. And then,
the gear probably one of the best perks.
Yeah, I mean, you don't make you're not making the money that the national team making. I mean, it just is what it is. But at the same time, I mean, it's dope, and then you get to put it on your resume, and it looks good, and you get that national team experience. That professionalism is one of those things that you can always keep with you, and bring back home and give to your kids. So, I mean, it's just something I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. And you talked about, it's always an honor to wear the crest, but, obviously over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of U.S. soccer controversy. So can you talk about that from the, futsal side, being like an extended team, like you said?
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally feel about it, if you could speak on it, with everything that's been going on?
And what in particular?
Ooh, I feel like there's so much. Is there anything specific that you want to kind of ask?
I guess really recently, just the way that they've kind of handled the racial inequality that's been happening. There's been statements and protests and players kneeling, stuff like that. And then as of recently, we've had people from the Athletes Council saying what they say. So just wanted to kind of get your take on that. Like, do you feel like, I don't want to get you in trouble either. Like,
no,
you feel like the Federation is supportive of people of color, and that they're really standing behind the causes, the outward showing of wanting to have more equality, wanting to raise awareness for more equality. Do you feel supported in that space as a player?
I guess obviously that's a touchy subject, because when people are ignorant to certain things, they tend to not understand the impact that it has on us. So let's say if my futsal coach is European, and he doesn't understand racial injustice in America, how do I hold him accountable for him saying, okay, you guys must stand for the national anthem? Because for him, he found escape in America and then found success. Whereas though for us, we have opportunity, but we know we have less opportunity, and we know that we have been oppressed. And so for us, standing for the national anthem isn't as important to somebody that has found liberation in the U.S. and kind of freedom from their own civil war in another country. So to them, the flag means more because they haven't had to deal with the oppression that we had to deal with. And one of the things that troubled me for a while, I remember in Croatia, and this was 2020, so this is when all the stuff was going down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, I'm like, my heart, I ain't standing for no national anthem. You know what I mean? Like, man, I'm gonna put my foot down. You know what I mean? But then I think in the back of the mind, you look at it, you say, okay, I'm on the futsal national team. You know what I mean? I'm not, if I'm causing controversy, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that Black people kind of struggle with, which is why I give so much ups to the people that, your Martin Luther Kings or your Malcolm X's, your Rosa Parks, and all the people that we look up to back in the day, and even your players now, your Kaepernicks and your LeBrons, and the people that are standing for justice now, because it's a very, very difficult space to be in and to navigate when you don't have necessarily the economic power or social power to drive culture forward. For instance, if I kneel for the national team in Croatia, nobody here would hear about it. If I got put off the futsal men's national team for doing it, would anybody hear about it? Maybe. Do I have enough money to hire a lawyer and cause a big stir about it? Yeah. Probably not. You feel what I'm saying? And so you kind of got to look at it from that lens. So when U.S. Soccer put out that statement that because when we were in Croatia, they're like, well, you must stand for the national anthem, heart over your whatever. And you're like, okay. And that's why I had to think, okay, they may not. And if they do, hey, that's something they have to deal with. But they may not know how this impacts me as a black man.
Yeah.
I mean, playing for the U.S. team in a country which I love, but I have also been racially profiled. I've been pulled over, pulled out my car, have photos taken of me by police, and put in all types of bad situations. Put out of stores, followed in stores for nothing, just for being black. And so I've experienced all these, and my father as well, who came as an immigrant to this country from Africa. And so my family have experienced these things firsthand. And so, I had to, for me, they don't understand how much it hurts me to see George Floyd, to see, all these things and all these racial things being, thrown around by, our president and his followers and things like that. And how much that affects me personally. I don't know if they necessarily know, because they're not in my situation, if you get what I'm saying. And so I have to take that in account and try to just be as professional as possible. And then when U.S. put out this statement that, national team members and extended national team members can kneel if they want, they don't have to stand, because at first we had to stand. That was part of the U.S. Yeah. That was part of being on the national team. And whereas though now, so I do feel like they're coming around with the support, and then they got rid of the guy that made those statements or whatever. So the culture is starting to shift. Obviously, it's not everything that we want, and the changes aren't moving as fast as we want. But what do you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, again, I just think for me, I just use my platforms to try to obviously spread knowledge about, racial injustice and oppression and things that I've dealt with, and how we can move away from them things. As far as U.S. soccer creating like we talked about, creating programs in the inner city, making soccer accessible to people that are in red line communities, those communities that don't have the money and the opportunity to pay for and play with good coaches. You're not talking about those guys that come from, at Southeast, you got guys coming from Minnesota. They go out there, hey guys, here, let's play soccer or whatever. They're not teaching them the game. Can they get good coaching? Can we fund that so they can learn how to play the game properly? Can we create opportunities for Black and brown people in America to play this game at a high level? And I think obviously that start at the root of it is there's so many things that we can change to feel more supported. So do I really support it? No. Do I feel that things are changing? Yeah, I guess. You know what I mean? But we know where we are, and we know, it is what it is.
No, yeah, I like how you broke it down, because when you look at it from both sides, and obviously being in the situation as a player, understanding it, and then from the impact standpoint, like how can we provide impact in different ways? So I know it's tough to deal with, but everyone has their own way to handle it.
For sure.
On a lighter note, though, futsal. When you talk about futsal, when futsal really first broke onto the scene in the U.S. was like when Nike and Brazilian national team was doing all the commercials, and I think the thing that made it great was the music, like the music around it. So give us your pre-match playlist. Who you rocking with? You got some GoGo, you got GoGo experience, you got music from futsal, you got drummer background in your family. Who's on your pre-match playlist?
Man, I can't even.
I know you got some of your own tunes on it.
I mean, for me, you talking. I mean, I can go anywhere for real. To be honest with you, I mean, if we're talking GoGo, you gotta throw some TCB on there. You gotta throw some Backyard on there. If we talking rap, you could throw. If we're going old school, you could throw some Biggie on there. I love Snoop. You could throw some, obviously, in the newer school. I mean, it's I love new school, so it gotta be, you gotta throw Future on there. You know what I mean? You gotta throw Drake on there. You gotta throw, even now, you gotta throw Lil Baby, Pusha, the Baby. I mean, it's too many hard rappers out.
Yeah, no Shy Glizzy on there.
Yeah. You got those Shy on there. It's funny. I know him for a long. He came up in the GoGo. He came up in the GoGo. He was playing for a band, Wale. I performed with Wale. He came up in the GoGo, but I support him because he's from the area. So
that's what I heard about Wale. People like he kind of changed that. Still support him.
Yeah, and then gotta throw some. I like, I mean, it's just so many avenues I could go, man. But for sure, I'm a rap dude. I love rap music. I like like Metallica. You could crank down. I mean, I like hardcore stuff, like hardcore. Like there's some techno songs, like a lot of like in the futsal culture overseas. A lot of that fast rhythm, like techno type beats. And obviously in Brazil, those rhythms, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I can't give you names of songs, but and then African music, because obviously I'm West African, so Burna Boy, you know what I mean, Wizkid and Davido and guys like that. I mean, I can rock with them too. So I can cover all. It just depends on what mood I'm in.
Okay,
depending on how I'm trying to get to it. Depending on how I'm trying to get to it on that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel
so
it.
what kind of boots you rocking? Like I see them fours in the background. So I know you got some sneakerhead in you. But on the court, what you rocking?
On the court right now, I'm rocking Jomas right now on the futsal court. With the national team, you have to wear Nike. So I wear the Lunar Gatos on when I'm playing. Obviously with the national team, because unless you're fully sponsored by a brand, you have to wear Nike with the national team. So I wear the Gatos when I'm playing with them, and then if I'm playing with my team, Intensity or whatever I got going on here, I'll wear Jomas. And that's what I'm rocking right now. Not for any particular reason, but I like the shoes that I'm wearing. They're comfortable for me. So.
Okay, so Joma, if you're listening, we need to get Homeboy in a full little sponsor deal.
Tap in with him.
I mean, they sent me the shoes I got now, so big up to Joma, man. They sent me the ones I got now. I love them. I've talked to them. We've talked to them, but they got plenty of futsal players. So hopefully they. Hey, you know what, man? We throw you some more shoes, whatever. Y'all should sponsor the club.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, sponsor the club. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
All right, so let's jump into a little game we like to play called Two Truths and a Cap. We were supposed to do this at the beginning, but I switched the format up on.
I told y'all one of my truths. I gotta rethink it. But go ahead.
All right. We switched the format up on Amobi, so I don't blame him for passing it up. This time. Next time we'll.
Oh yeah, we did switch up the format. My bad.
All right, but we're gonna come back to it. So, Two Truths and a Cap. John, you give us 3 facts about yourself. 2 of them will be true, 1 will be a lie, and Amobi and I have to guess what the lie is. So I think last week I got mine right.
Yeah, I got Amobi, it wrong.
You sliding down the scale again, bro. So whenever you're ready, John, go ahead. Just tell us all 3. Tell us all 3 up front, and then we'll try to guess at the end.
I gave y'all 1, so I gotta rethink it. Whew. All right. 2 truths and a lie. All right. I met Messi, scored a goal against Manchester United, and I helped write a song for Wale.
Oh.
I'm gonna say meeting Messi is the cap, because it ain't no way we went through this whole interview without you mentioning that. For sure.
I'm gonna say you played against Man United, obviously with DC United. You said that kind of earlier, but I don't think you scored against them. But if you met Messi, you probably would have included him in your futsal 5. And then obviously you said you went on concert with Wale, but it did take a song for Wale. Yeah, it took you hella long to come up with that though. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with Messi. You ain't meet Messi. You probably met like Dino or something. You ain't meet
Messi. I was the third one. I didn't help Wale write a song.
Oh.
I'm just messing with y'all. Y'all got it right. I didn't.
Okay, I was about to say, tell us about this Messi story then.
Nah, never met Messi. That's on my bucket list. Hopefully one day.
Respect.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I should have just left it like that.
That was a good one.
We would have never even known.
Right.
Call Messi to fact check that.
Yeah, man. Goat, man.
All right, so let's get into another game we like to play here called No Card, Yellow Card, Red Card. So this is sort of a rapid fire game that we play where where I'll read off some topics. Like they can be pop culture, it could be soccer, it could be whatever. But you'll give your opinion on that topic using the soccer card system. Okay. So no card is, I'm cool with it, I agree. Yellow card is I'm indifferent, I can go either way. Or in red card is I disagree or I'm not cool with it, and kind of give a little explanation of why you gave that card. So got it?
Yep.
All right. So first up. So Gareth Bale recently made his intentions about his future known by saying that he intends to return to Real Madrid at the end of his loan with Tottenham. So basically the main reason he came to Spurs was to play football going into the Euro so that he could be match fit. So Bale basically used his ex-club as a rebound to get his current club back. So what card are you giving Gareth?
And what is it? Which one is it again? Red card is what?
Red card is I disagree, or
you disagree with it.
Yeah, it's foul. I'm not cool with it.
And yellow card is?
You can go either way.
And
no card is I agree with it. I'm cool with it.
No card. I mean, as a player, obviously, the club's gonna look out for their best interest. So why not, as a player, you look out for your best interest? As far as him saying that, I don't know. Maybe there's a maybe there's a red card on that one. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
you should have kept that on the low.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I don't have a problem with players looking out for for them, because at the end of the day, club's gonna look out for themselves. So.
Yeah, facts. I'm just gonna give yellow card just because of the delivery. I mean, Tottenham, he has a dear place in his heart for Tottenham. That's where he kind of like broke out. But from the Real Madrid side, it's like, yeah, I'm coming back. So y'all gonna have to figure out what y'all gonna do with me.
Are we talking about the statement or the decision?
The decision, no problem with the decision.
Oh, so we're talking about the delivery.
Yeah, just the delivery and how he like went about it.
Obviously, yeah. If we're talking about the delivery, then
how he played the entire situation.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
No problem with it. He did. Yeah.
I don't have a problem he did, but I said, I'll give him. And you said a yellow is kind of an issue.
Yeah. Either way, you can go either way.
I'll give him a yellow for the way he handled it. Yeah, I'll give him a yellow.
Yeah. All right. And I got one more.
All
right. Ron Burkle, who's the former lead investor for Sac Republic's MLS bid, was recently pitching the idea of moving his NWSL territory rights from Sacramento to San Diego. Mm-hmm. So what card are y'all giving Ron for this? As he already pulled out the MLS bid for Sac Republic, kind of derailing that. Now he's pitching his NWSL rights to San Diego. So further, driving the knife in Sacramento's back. What card y'all giving him for this?
Hey, I'm giving him a red card. If he pull up in Sac, it might be bad for him. It might be bad for him if he pull up in Sac. He just like, but it's actually crazy too, because the chairman for the San Diego Loyal, he was actually the gentleman that brought the team to Sacramento, and for this to kind of like, I don't want to say come full circle, like the now potential or was going to be owner of the MLS franchise to like now work with San Diego, who was the chairman who brought it's interesting, but I'm gonna give him a red card. Actually, let me give a yellow card, because anytime there's more expansion and more growth for the women's game, you gotta love it, no matter if it's in Sacramento or San Diego, wherever it's at. That's a benefit. But like, what's he doing he doesn't give a crap about PR, at least in the Sacramento community. He don't care. He's like, hey, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm a business. I'm a billionaire. So y'all can figure it out. I don't care.
Yeah, for me, it's a yellow. I'm on the fence because the fans, the supporters, the city, the enthusiasm, they probably, really wanted that thing to happen. But again, at the same time, I'm never against people doing what's best for them. And if it's for you, it just depends on what's best for you, obviously.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like super, super, super effed up or shady, then yeah. So I'm gonna give him a yellow just because, he didn't follow through with, the initial plan.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's that on that. I guess he ain't got no reason to go back to SAC anyway. You know?
Yeah, it's like, it's
like,
definitely
y'all not fun to see me in the city anyway. So.
Exactly. What are you going to Sacramento for anyway? If you're
hey, let's chill. That's my home city.
Oh man,
yeah, Amobi is SAC native. Like he's biased.
Bro, y'all be
telling people the same thing.
Like Chris Webber, bro. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, I'll be telling people the same thing. SAC has a lot of potential, but they need to let some of the game changers move and shake how they need to do it.
I've been to Cali a bunch of times. I've never been to SAC, bro. I've never been to Sacramento, so I can't really speak to that. So no, but you know.
Nah, it's all love. It's all love.
Just messing with you. Where you from?
I'm from the Bay Area.
Are you from Bay Area? I've been to Bay Area rack of times.
Yeah.
Bay Area. I love Bay Area.
Yeah, area. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so this week's Black Soccer History is we want to give Kim Crabbe her flowers. So Kim Crabbe grew up in Reston, VA, and played as a forward on George Mason's 1985 NCAA championship team. The following year, she was selected as the first African-American woman on the U.S. women's national team, being called up to play outside back. While she didn't become the first Black player to earn a cap with the U.S. women's national team, that honor went to Sandy Gordon. She opened the door for women of color to live out their dreams as part of the United States women's national team. So currently, she coaches and does community outreach in Wilmington, North Carolina, still creating impact on the game at the local level. And for that, we want to salute Kim for being a trailblazer for the generations of Black women that will represent this country behind her. So salute to Kim.
Yeah, major salute for sure.
Big ups, Kim.
And that's it for the week.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming on. It was great to finally get to meet you and your story.
Yeah, man.
If you ever really think about doing movie scripts, hey, let us know.
Yeah, I've had a couple of talks with a couple of people that.
Okay. You don't have no talks with 2Cents Sports though, so
yeah, you're right. Somebody reached out to me like not too long ago about it.
Yeah.
She's a videographer. She creates like movies and contents and things like that. And she was like, "Yo, I want to do your story, and what do we need to do? Blah blah blah." Yeah, I think it'll be it'll make a great movie. It doesn't even have to be an autobiography. It could literally just be like a movie, like what I mean, straight up.
I know a couple folks at 2Cents Sports that would be definitely interested. So, if you're thinking about that, for sure tap in.
Hey, y'all got my contact info, man. We can lock in. Sure, man. I'm all about.
But for the audience that may want to get to know you, support what you got going on, Insanity Futsal, all the wonderful things.
Intensity.
My fault.
You good.
Intensity. Where can they tap in? Where can they support?
Well, you can follow me at Jon Lives On, JONLIVESON, Instagram, Intensity Futsal, IN10 SITY, Futsal or Intensity Performance, IN10 SITY Performance, all on Instagram. You can get all our information, all our contact info, everything's right there on Instagram. So, yeah, follow us, support, like, share the videos, and yeah.
No, that's what it's all about. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have that in the show notes. Make sure you guys support Jon and all his endeavors. Thanks once again. That's our show for this week. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us get discovered. Follow us on all the socials at 2Cents FC. Check out our merch at 2centsports.shop. L, show them the jersey you're rocking with. You see me with the hat. I think some people are going to get their jerseys real soon.
Yeah, some people already got them. People who order name sets, they're coming soon.
What mine's that?
Yeah.
What size you wear, man?
Yeah, I'll hit y'all up, man. I need support.
Nah, respect, because so our merch that helps support the show. If you want me or El, to continue giving you weekly, consistent, unfiltered thoughts and opinions from your favorite individuals in the soccer game, and then tweet us your comments on the show and any topics you want me or El to discuss. Once again, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace out.